Welcome back. In the previous unit, we learned how you can decide how much practice to do and how that it's clearly related to how good you want to get. Remember, there are certain opportunities, certain experiences, and certain jobs that only experts get invited to. In my career, I've been a resident pianist on a tropical island on the Great Barrier Reef and also at the world's most luxurious hotel in Dubai. I've been fortunate, but you practice so you're ready when opportunities come knocking. Why are you good at things? This is the mindset question, and the way you answer this is enormously important. It's like, why did you fail that exam? Some people will take responsibility and learn from failure, but some will blame others, anyone or anything but themselves. This question, how come you are so good at that thing you do, generally elicits one of two types of response. The first, it's about talent. I won the genetic lottery. The second, it's about my work, the result of my effort. I'm the driver of my success. Please don't put it down to luck or the genetic lottery. Beethoven made the same point to his Viennese patron and friend Prince Lichnowsky. I liked his response so much, I have it on page 1 of my book, Learning Strategies for Musical Success. This idea that people who are good at things are lucky? Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. How do you respond to that question? Why are you good at things? So here's the thing. It doesn't even matter what the truth of talent theory is. We'll look at that soon, but importantly, it doesn't matter in the sense that it's what you believe about intelligence that controls the reality of its impact. And what we know from in-depth research and investigation is that people behave and learn in very different ways simply based upon their beliefs about intelligence, their mindset. This is powerful stuff. People who have this learning, effort or growth mindset are more likely to exhibit the following learning dispositions. They're more likely to work harder. Given that this is the single greatest determinant that differentiates exceptional performance in anything, I'm sold already. These people are more likely to take work home, more likely to do homework. They're not quitters. They revel in the struggle and persist in the face of setbacks. They embrace challenge. They like to test their abilities and try new things. They're open to new ideas that might test them. They're more likely to set goals outside of their comfort zone. How are you going so far? Does this sound like you, or does it sound like the person you'd like to become? It gets better. These people learn from criticism and seek feedback. They're more likely to approach the teacher and take the initiative. Rather than become jealous, they're inspired by the success of others. They really want to get better, and they're prepared to work at it and sacrifice for it. Even though they work harder than the other mindset, they enjoy learning more. They outperform the fixed talent mindset. Take a breather and think about this. How many of the attributes of character, persistence, openness, and work ethic did you identify with? Now to the other mindset, the fixed or genetic talent mindset, which essentially believes you've either got it or you haven't. Prepare yourself, this isn't going to be pretty. Have you heard that phrase, gifted and lazy? For these people, things are meant to come easy. You only have to work hard if you haven't got it. They are less likely to take work home, less likely to do homework, and consequently they fall behind. They are more likely to work on what they can already do well, rather than work on the more difficult aspects of the work that needs to be done. As a result, performance drops over time. They don't try as hard. If I haven't tried, you can't accuse me of not being talented. To try and fail is devastating because that's the way I am. Many talent mindset kids try out for teams and so on just the once. They don't persist as much as the growth mindset. They avoid challenge, settle for mediocrity, and are less inclined to try something new. They are less likely to raise their hand in class, less likely to see the teacher about a problem, but more likely to ignore useful feedback. They'd rather be the best player in the worst team than the worst player in the best team or competition. They're more likely to cheat on a test, more likely to lie to others about test results, less likely to give tips to others or want to help others. They feel threatened by the success of others. They usually make excuses and blame other people or other circumstances when they don't do well. Overall, they lack empowerment and agency because they don't believe in their capacity to improve. They don't enjoy learning as much as they could, if only they changed their mind. Not a very promising description of a learner. We are all capable of being negative and letting ourselves down. You might identify with some of these less than flattering attributes. Perhaps you see them in people you know. We all feel like quitting sometimes, especially when things get harder. There might be very good reasons for stopping an activity, but be careful. If the reason you quit is because the work is becoming difficult, then you sell yourself short. You know perfectly well you could be far more than you are. You don't want quitting to be a part of your character. Here's a story about Mojo the monster, who wanted to quit mathematics because it became more difficult. Is this story familiar to you?
Chapter 1. Mojo discovers a secret about his brain. A secret that will change the way he looks at the world forever. Our story begins with Mojo, a friendly monster who loved school, especially math. Until one day, when something terrible happened. The math problems got harder. Nothing made sense anymore. Mojo had a devastating thought. He just wasn't smart enough for school. It seemed the only reasonable thing to do was pack his things and leave forever. Just then, he heard his friend Katie laughing. "Mojo, you can't just give up," she said. "I have no choice, Katie," said Mojo. "You're either born smart or you're not. And I realize today that I'm not." "Mojo, that's not how it works," said Katie. "Anyone can be smart. You just have to work at it." "Psh, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard," said Mojo. "It's not ridiculous, it's science," said Katie. "Neuroscientists studied the brain for years and discovered an incredible secret, that your brain is like a muscle. When you try challenging things, like those hard math problems, you're giving your brain the exercise it needs to get stronger, which makes you smarter." "Ooh, is that really true?" said Mojo. "Of course," said Katie. "It's like how when you were a baby, you didn't know how to talk. But you kept trying, exercising your brain, until one day you could." Mojo! Mojo couldn't believe what he was hearing. If your brain was really like a muscle, did that mean anyone could become smarter? Even him? He turned to ask Katie, but just then, she had to be off to her next class. But maybe you can answer Mojo's question. What do you think? Can Mojo become smarter? What about you? Now that's an interesting question indeed.
Fortunately for Mojo, his friend Katie explained that when things get harder, it's good for your brain. That's how learning works. If it's too easy, you're probably not learning much at all. Don't be a quitter. It's the easy way out. We say things like, I didn't have the talent, or it's boring, or I'm no longer interested, when the real reason is that it's hard work. When people quit learning things, they almost always regret it. Mindset is a matter of choice. You can decide what to believe in because there's no firm evidence for talent. No one knows for sure. As said, the truth doesn't matter in the sense that what people believe determines learner dispositions and character. Experts, though, are almost all growth mindset people. They can't afford to let the question of talent derail their prodigious work ethic. Listen to Ed.
And do you still have some of those old CDs that you couldn't sell?
Yeah, I do. My mum eBays them.
Wow.
Hey.
That must be quite a nice little industry for her. What does she get for a CD?
I don't know. I think you know, I mean, they pretty much all go to charity. She supports the children's
Oh, we all say that.
No.
And for charity, that's a very nice thing to do then.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
some of them I won't sell because they sound like...
Well, they're the ones we're interested in.
Class. Oh, God, they're really bad.
When you say really bad, though, what was wrong with them and what was different in the music you were doing then as opposed to...
I'm going to play you a song.
Okay.
So this is my thing. When people go, oh, you're so talented. You were born with natural talent. I'm like, no.
Okay.
Have a listen to this. Right. This is the.
Has this been played in public before?
No.
Okay, so this
is
an exclusive Ed Sheeran when he was shit, basically.
Yeah, basically, all I'm saying is when people say artists are born with talent, you're not. You have to really learn and really practice. This is me playing guitar and singing. I'm going to put it into my mic like this.
It's okay so far.
It starts off. It has its fun. Wait. Hold me.
I'm addicted
Oh.
to
And then.
but I'm grown.
But do you know what? Wow. Do you know what? I did practice.
You might have difficulty with this point of view about talent, particularly if you've been brought up with the talent attribution for ability. Ed Sheeran, and in fact most experts, don't credit talent, and researchers like Anders Ericsson have a hard time finding evidence for it. We think people in the same family are raised the same, so their different abilities must be genetically based, but no two people have the same upbringing or the same experience in life. Like with early childhood events, the subtlety of experience is powerful. The Human Genome Project was the largest international biological project, 14 years mapping the human genome, expecting 100,000 genes and variant genes to be found. But they didn't. And they found no variant genes associated with intelligence or exceptional performance, except for height. We see people do extraordinary things, so we think it must be talent. But it's a retrospective judgment because no one's ever predicted talent before they see it. Where is your mindset at? Gifted and lazy is a classic sign of the talent mindset. The non-talent mindset? People don't try because they think that without talent, there's no point. You might continue to believe in talent, that's your choice. But these things require zero talent, and these are the things that exceptional performers do. They take the ordinary and do extra. Do you say things like this? Of course, you might not be good at something at the moment, but it doesn't have to be a permanent condition. This is the problem with absolute terms like always and never. They don't give you room to grow. Words are powerful. Your character becomes what you think and what you say. Sticks and stones might break your bones, but words can cause irreparable harm. Sayings like these might also indicate a closed, fixed mindset. We all have strengths and weaknesses. Of course we do. We don't have the time or the inclination to become strong in all things. But people use this as an excuse as to why they failed at something. Find your talents. Everyone has different talents. This is dangerous because people think they'll know what they're good at and that they found a talent because it will come easy to them. This is misleading. George Bernard Shaw said, "Life is not about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. Choose what you want to get good at, then work at it. Don't give up." It's difficult. New learning is unfamiliar. Don't let the difficulty put you off. A fixed mindset can cripple our attitude toward growth and learning. A negative attitude gets in the way. A change of attitude can bring a change in life. John Dewey said, "We are not ready-made, but we're in continuous formation through our choices and action." People decide to be learners. With a learning mindset, who knows what you will achieve? Congratulations on completing the course. Now it's up to you. What are you going to do with your new knowledge of learning skills? If it is to be, it's up to you. Make a plan to work on your skills using the techniques presented here and do so regularly. When we do a course like this, we tend to forget most of it rather quickly. If you want to learn this well, watch it again, maybe in a couple of weeks or so. Just like the principles of repetition we talked about, allow some forgetting to set in. Then re-engage. I wish you well for the future.